It is my great pleasure to welcome you and to open this conference, Challenges and Perspectives, Building Resilience in a Dynamic Critical Infrastructure Environment. The topic we will discuss over the next 2 days is vital for the future of our societies and economies. Critical infrastructure is the backbone of our daily lives and forms the foundation of everything we do, from energy supply and water distribution to the healthcare, communications, transportation. However, with the rapid advancement of technology, globalization, and increasing threats, we are facing numerous challenges in protecting and maintaining the stability of these systems. Today, in this dynamic environment, building resilience against threats and challenges has become imperative for all of us. And it is not only a global imperative, but also a specific responsibility for each of us, particularly when it comes to our country's duty to protect critical infrastructure. In this context, as a member of the North Atlantic Alliance, Montenegro plays a key role in implementing the policies and principles developed by NATO to enhance the resilience of its member states. NATO, through its policies and strategies, emphasize that the protection of the critical infrastructure and the strengthening of resilience against all types of threats is the responsibility of every ally. Given the increasing challenges posed by cyber attacks, natural disasters, and the technical failures, NATO encouraged member states to develop their capacities for the prevention, protection, and response to threats targeting critical systems. Therefore, as a NATO member country, Montenegro is obliged to continuously work on enhancing the security of its key infrastructure, as well as contributing to the collective resilience of the alliance. However, beyond the obligations arising from NATO membership, Montenegro, as a future member of the European Union, faces additional requirements concerning critical infrastructure protection. The EU has very clear regulations and the guidelines related to the security and resilience of critical infrastructure, such as a directive on the identification and the designation of European critical infrastructure and the Directive of Security of Network and Information Systems, NIS Directive. For Montenegro as a country in the process of EU accession, these regulations represent an obligation to align with the EU standards in the field of critical infrastructure protection. This involves not only harmonizing national legislation with the EU laws, but also developing national capacities for risk assessment and the protection of critical sectors, including the energy sector, transportation, telecommunication, and the healthcare. As a future EU member, Montenegro must implement mechanisms for identifying and managing risks, develop strategies for protection against cyber attacks, and strengthen coordination between the public and the private sector to ensure the resilience of its key infrastructures. Additionally, Montenegro is required to contribute to the broader EU framework for critical infrastructure protection in a cooperation with the other EU member states to build resilience at both the regional and the international levels. While NATO and the EU operate with different frameworks, they share common goals regarding the protection of a critical infrastructure and the strengthening of their members' resilience. Montenegro, as a NATO member and the future EU member, has a unique opportunity to integrate best practices and technologies and through collaboration with the partners in both alliances, enhance its capacities and contribute to the global security. Furthermore, As a member of the alliance, Montenegro is obliged to actively contribute to the collective resilience and protection of a critical infrastructure within the broader NATO framework through joint exercises, trainings, and the implementation of advanced technologies. Our cooperation in these processes not only strengthens our national security, but also contributes to the security of the region, the entire alliance, and the EU. In the conclusion, the key questions arise. Does Montenegro currently have an adequate action strategy for the protection of the critical infrastructure? Have the necessary mechanisms and capacities for its protection been developed? And most importantly, do our political leaders fully understand the significance of this issue and its long-term implications for national security and stability? Ladies and gentlemen, these are the questions we must answer as soon as possible, because without an adequate strategy, resources, and the political will, our resilience to emerging threats could be seriously compromised. Today and tomorrow at this conference, we have the opportunity to examine and contribute to the answers to these questions, because only through joint efforts we can ensure that Montenegro is prepared for all challenges and support our state institutions in building the resilience necessary for the future. And I don't know, is there a political will at the state level? But I know that there is a strong political will within the Atlantic Council. And therefore, yesterday, we decided, together with our partners from Belgrade, with the esteemed professor and colleague, Professor Kekovic, to establish one more center within the Atlantic Council, Center for Building Critical Infrastructure Resilience. And I'm inviting every single of you from Montenegro and wider to join us to help Montenegro and to help all other countries in the region to build the critical infrastructure to the extent as it should be. We have a number of other centers as well in that respect in the Atlantic Council, and I think that the Atlantic Council can be a very solid partner to the state institutions, to NATO, as in the past 20 years, to do what's necessary and to implement everything what we are already lacking behind. I wish you a successful conference in that respect and look forward to the all-inspiring discussions and the conclusions we will reach. Thank you for your participation, and once again, welcome to this conference and welcome to Montenegro.